Let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay, hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra.
One second. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video, episode, podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat right now. We got Unknown Sports Fan, we got Derek, we got Michael, we got Josh. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys for being here. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button on your way in. It's been an absolute while since we went live here on the AZ Sports Fan on YouTube in a very, very long time, obviously, as well as X/Twitter, but we're back on the grind, and obviously the official off-season starts. If you guys did not watch yesterday's Super Bowl, I'm happy with the results. We'll talk about that game, obviously, what has to do with the Cardinals and what they can absolutely learn. But huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat right now. Thank you guys so very much for being here. I understand there's not a lot of content coming your way, but hey, you know, we got 1 month away from free agency, which are going to be, you know, obviously, we're actually less than a month away from free agency. No, actually a month, but content's going to start coming up here pretty quickly with March as well as April because of the draft. So, hey, man, I'm excited. I'm absolutely super excited. But huge shout out to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here throughout the entirety of the NFL season. That's going to be none other than BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get started here. Let's talk about, obviously, Chiefs versus Eagles and what the Arizona Cardinals can learn from building a team in 2025. And there's a lot to go over in this game because although I'm pretty ecstatic with the way this has ended, and here's the thing. The Eagles could have been any team. Like I'm going to be real here. Like, the Eagles could have been any team. It's not that I'm excited that the Eagles won. I'm just excited that the freaking Kansas City Chiefs were not able to three-peat, right? I'm excited about those ticky-tack BS calls weren't really called very much in this game, with the exception of that offensive pass interference, which I have no clue why that was even called, but there was some kind of, you know, ticky-tack things here and there for maybe the Eagles too. But nevertheless, I saw a game on Super Bowl 59, which was evenly called, right? A lot of times it almost kind of feels like the Chiefs get all these calls, or at least ticky-tack calls, but I felt like it was actually evenly called, and thankfully, man, we saw the best team win on Super Bowl 59. Kudos for the Eagles. I have no issue with the Eagles as well. Personally, I understand that they ended up coming for us because we ended up tampering with Jonathan Gannon. We lost a draft pick. I know there's some Cardinal fans out there that feel some sort of way with that fan base because of how they are. I agree with all that, but I got no ill against the Eagles. Congratulations to the Eagles. Congratulations to Jalen Hurts for going over or getting over the hump. That team over there that was built by Howie Roseman is absolutely magnificent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the defensive line. That line was probably the difference maker. The defensive line was probably the difference maker in terms of why they actually dominated the Chiefs. And congratulations to the Eagles. That's all I could say. Congratulations to the Eagles. They won Super Bowl 59. They've been a organization that's constantly been in the playoffs for the past 5 or 6 years. And congratulations. That's all I can really say for them. Now, I know one thing that we want to talk about here for Cardinals fans is what we can learn, right? What can we learn as an organization to hopefully be in that position? Because let's call it like it is, ladies and gentlemen. This might be one of the most, I guess, uneventful. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Uneventful off seasons for the Cardinals, right? We've been an organization that a lot of things kind of happens for us, either firings or just all these breaking news that drops. But I think we're getting now some consistency, right? Or at least we're trying to build some sort of consistent culture with Jonathan Gannon, Nick Rallis, as well as Monty Ossenfor and Drew Petzing. We're trying to build some sort of consistency, right? Some sort of culture within this organization, some stability. And some might say boring, right? A boring off season. I guess I could say that as well. But we're trying to keep the band together because although during the season, I wasn't a big fan of the way we ended the season off, especially after the bye week. You got to call it like it is, right? From 4 wins to 8 wins, they doubled their amount of wins. And all we can really hope for as an organization is that they continue to build and climb that ladder. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can finally get a playoff berth and be proud of this Arizona Cardinals organization to hopefully win a playoff game. Fingers crossed. I mean, that's all we can hope for at this point. But this offseason, for Monty Ossenfor and Jonathan Gannon, it's going to be very, very telling to see how they approach this offseason. And today is the official start. Today is the official start of what they're going to do, right? How the Cardinals are going to attack this offseason is going to be very telling. I'm very, very excited to see what Monty Ossenfor is going to do in his year 3. There was a lot of players within that Eagles organization that I kind of want. I ain't gonna lie to you. I kind of want. I want the Arizona Cardinals to potentially get a player or two from that Eagles or defensive line. I know there's some people out there that kind of brought Milton Williams to my attention. I really didn't know too much about him, but after doing a little bit of research, I would love the idea of potentially bringing him in. Of course, I've been very, very high on Josh Sweat, a guy that was wreaking havoc in the playoffs, or maybe not wreaking havoc, because that whole defensive line was wreaking havoc. He was just a piece that was also a part of that havoc as well, right? But they got players, man. They got absolute dogs on that defensive line. Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. What they build within that Eagles D line is a defensive line that should and needs to be feared, right? But they're going to lose pieces this offseason. They're going to lose pieces this offseason. So here's an opportunity for the Cardinals to go over to the Eagles, potential free agents and saying, hey, how would you like to come back over with Jonathan Gannon? How would you like to reunite with Jonathan Gannon / Nick Rallis, right? How would you like that, right? Here it is, man. This is going to be year 3 of Monty, and let's see if we approach this the way that we all want to approach this, right? Because let's call it like it is. The 2024 offseason, all the moves were made. They weren't big moves. They weren't moves that really push the needle, right? We got guys like Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, but they weren't difference makers, right? They're not guys that are going to win you games, right? Now, unfortunately, their seasons were cut short, but let's call it like it is. This defensive line can use a huge upgrade, right? I still do like the pieces of Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones if they come back, or actually, they are going to come back. They're still under contract. I just hope that they can stay healthy, right? I hope that they can stay healthy. They're going to be a rotational piece for the Arizona Cardinals defensive line. What we're all hoping for is that B.J. Ojulari can stay healthy through this offseason, and hopefully we start seeing some more consistent games under his belt. We're all hoping that Darius Robinson can, something can switch and something can kind of, he has that aha moment, and we start seeing some production from Darius Robinson. And the two guys that we have, Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, can give us a solid full season. That's what we can all hope for, right? But there's no doubt right now in my mind that the Cardinals need to upgrade that defensive line. The Eagles' defensive line harassed, and I mean harassed, Patrick Mahomes. You can look at the stats all you want. And say, well, Patrick Mahomes finished off 21 of 32, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, right? You can say, oh, he played pretty good. No, a lot of those end yards and those touchdowns, they were garbage touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes. This was a beatdown. This was one of the most beatdown I've seen versus a Kansas City Chiefs team, right? The Philadelphia Eagles came in here and they laid it on him. And congratulations, they were the better team. Honestly, I would rather seen Bills versus Eagles. That's kind of how bad this game was. the Eagles were just so far superior over the Chiefs that this game was over at half. It was over at half. Let's call it like it is. Now we've seen some great comebacks, right? Tom Brady with the Atlanta Falcons, that was a great comeback. But no, man, the Eagles organization, they let him have it, man, and they did not release that gas pedal at all. So let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals defensive line, right? What can we do as an organization to potentially fix this defensive line and hopefully become one of the most feared defensive lines? And can it happen overnight? I mean, it's probably going to take a few years because, like I said, if you really look at the Arizona Cardinals defense, right, specifically that defensive line, they can use it. They can use a serious facelift. They absolutely can. Right now, who currently is on the roster is Zaven Collins, which it's Zaven. He got 5.5 sacks. He was a sack leader for the Cardinals on the defensive line. We got Naquan Jones, Roy Lopez, LJ Collier, Baron Browning, right? So who we're really hoping to give us the oomph, the extra juice so far with the people we have on this line is we're hoping that Darius Robinson can take that next step. We're hoping that B.J. Ojulari can hopefully finish off the season healthy. Dante Stills, I really do like Dante Stills a lot, right? We're going to get Justin Jones back. We're going to get Bilal Nichols back. But we need to get somebody in this year's free agency class. Like, I think the times of, looking through the bargain bins, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to call Justin Jones a Bilal Nichols bargain bin, but they kind of are. Like, let's be honest. When we got him, nobody was excited about those signings. They were like, okay, because regardless of who we got from 2023 to 2024 was going to be an upgrade. Let's call it like it is. What we need to do from 2024 to 2025 is we need to go after a big piece. We got to, right? Whether it's going to be a trade, right? We've all talked about a potential trade that can happen for the Cardinals. We got draft capital, we got money, right? Can the Cardinals go after Myles Garrett? Can they go after Micah Parsons? Can they go after Max Crosby, right? Those are the big three names that when the Cardinals fans get together and we want to talk about upgrading our defensive line, those are the main guys that people want to talk about. I like to throw Trey Hendrickson in there as well. Like, personally, I really like him. I know there's some Cardinal fans out there that are not the biggest fan of him, but if I want to throw a fourth guy in there, I would say Trey Hendrickson, right? But those are the top three guys that the Cardinals could potentially trade for, right? Now, I'm not saying the Cardinals are interested. I'm not saying the Cardinals will do it, but if they want to make a big splash move, that's going to automatically upgrade the defensive line. Any of those three guys, right? Now, if they do not go that route, then, hey, free agency is going to be your next best option, right? Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat has looked pretty darn good. Now, here's the thing with free agency. You are also going to run into the thought that if Josh Sweat does sign with the Cardinals, right? I think he finished off the season with 8 sacks, 27 solo tackles, most likely going to be 28. He's going to be 28 when the season starts. So you're going to be running into the thought of, hey, some of these guys that sign with the Cardinals, they might just want to collect the check. I mean, that might be a real possibility. Now, can Josh Sweat become that X factor for the Cardinals? Potentially, right? I don't think anybody knows Josh Sweat as much as obviously JG and Nick Rallis. So if the Cardinals really like him, why not take the swing, right? Why not take a swing and getting somebody in here like Josh Sweat? Now, like I said a little earlier, I want to give some kudos to the people here on my subscriber count, because personally, my eyes were not on Milton Williams, but you guys brought him to my attention, and he's going to be a potential free agent for the Eagles as well. So maybe another guy that the Cardinals could potentially go after as well. I think it was a 3rd-round pick in 2021. So will he hit the open market? Maybe, right? Maybe. Let me actually take a look at his contract. I think he was playing on his rookie deal. Let me just confirm here real quick. Yeah, 2024 is his last year with the Eagles. He could potentially sign a deal, though, right? We don't know. But there's a lot of Eagles players, man, that I would love the Cardinals to potentially kind of take a swing at. So do we go that route? Do we go after a Josh Sweat? Do we go after a Milton Williams, right? Or do the Cardinals do that and still address, and getting somebody with the 16th overall pick here in the NFL draft? Because when I look at that Eagles team, I'm seeing a lot of Bulldogs over there, man. I'm seeing a lot of Bulldogs. Maybe it's time that the Cardinals make the adjustment and actually bringing in guys that's playing for these top tier schools, right? Like your Georgia, right? Like Michigan, right? Like it's another top tier school out there, Alabama, right? Maybe that's what the Cardinals need to focus on. Maybe we need to bring in guys that gel well together in college and translate them here into the NFL. Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter, they were teammates, right? In Georgia. Maybe the Cardinals do something like that, right? It seems like the Cardinals are kind of trending in the direction that there's a school that they really do like, but that school is Ohio State. Ohio State seems like they love getting prospects from there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's going to be a lot of good prospects in this year's draft, and the free agency class is going to be really, really nice as well. So, man, we need to upgrade those trenches, man. We need to upgrade those trenches big time. Let's take a few comments here. We got my guy Adrian in the chat. What's up, Adrian? He says, what about any Chiefs players? Chiefs don't have a lot of money to sign their top tier player. Oh, yeah. The Chiefs has a lot of good players that potentially going to hit the open market as well. Nick Bolton being one of them. I don't know if they have any guys on their defensive line that I think the Cardinals could potentially poach, because let me look at their depth chart right now. They are going to have some guys that are going to hit the open market, but I think they're going to be a lot more guys like Nick Bolton, right, outside the line. Let me take a look here. I think Karlaftis, I liked him, but he's still under his rookie deal. He got picked up in 2022, so unless they extended him, I don't see anybody that they have on their D line, because that's really what I'm focusing on here personally. But they got a lot of good players. Nick Bolton's what really the big one that I really potentially could like the Cardinals to land, especially with the unknown with Kazir White, right? With Kazir White potentially not coming back to the Cardinals because of that whole, post from Instagram, and he ended up changing his agency, his sports agency. So I think he's looking to collect the bag. So I do like the Chiefs players personally, but on the defensive side of the ball, if there's one guy I'm really going to focus on, it's probably going to be Nick Bolton. But I don't know. I also do like Zach Bond as well from the Eagles. So there's a lot of players from the Eagles that I would like the Cardinals to potentially go after. But I love the idea of the Cardinals going after a big name in free agency, but still using that 16th overall pick on the defensive line, right? Whether that's Michael Williams, whether that's going to be Mike Green, right? Somebody that's going to be able to elevate this defensive line, because you saw, man, most likely everybody noticed that on their Super Bowl 59, Patrick Mahomes was harassed. Patrick Mahomes was harassed in that game. He couldn't do anything, right? He tried to escape the pocket multiple times, and they just brought him down. That defensive line was nasty. Nasty. We got Robert G in the chat. He says, Hurts plays way better than Murray. Just saying. I mean, there's been a few fans out there, Cardinal fans, that said things that they would rather have Murray over Hurts. I mean, I'll let you guys decide that debate, right? If you feel like Hurts is better than Murray, or you feel like Murray's better than Hurts, whatever the situation might be, the only thing that I can really go off of is, hey, I mean, Hurts has a Super Bowl under his belt now, and what the Eagles have done since Hurts has been the quarterback is just constant success, right? So I'll let you guys debate that, whoever you think is better at quarterback. But one thing that I do know is that, can the Cardinals win a Super Bowl with Murray? I mean, right now we don't know, right? Right now we don't know. All I can hope for right now is that the Cardinals' mindset is that they're going to have some sort of backup plan heading into 2025. And not just that, but they are going to be building these trenches up the way that it should be built up, right? Defensive line, offensive line. And I still want the Cardinals to go after a weapon, getting a wide receiver for the Cardinals. I feel like that would absolutely help this Cardinals organization. because I like Michael Wilson. Obviously, I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I love Greg Dortch, but it's probably time to move off. Maybe the Cardinals do go after a wide receiver in the third round. Maybe they do, right? We don't know. I would love the idea of it, so I'll let you guys decide that whole situation. But yeah, no, Jalen Hurts had himself a really, really good game. And he probably has now. There was a lot of question marks on Hurts. I'll just leave it at that. There was a lot of question marks on Hurts. But went over the hump, got himself a Super Bowl. That is what everybody aspires to do, right? They want to get a Super Bowl. Now he's got one under his belt. So congratulations, man. Congratulations. Let's move on over to Sed. Sed says Kyler is in the same level as Hurts. Therefore, Kyler can win us a Super Bowl. All right, well, let's see. Let's see. I mean, 2025 is open, man. 2025 is open. I hope that what you're saying is correct, because one thing that the Cardinals need to do is that we need to focus on building a better team, right? Defensively is the first thought that's going in my mind right now. That defense needs to be upgraded, especially that defensive line. So if you feel the same way that the Cardinals organization most likely feels, that Kyler can win us a Super Bowl, then let's rock and roll. Let's see what we can do here in 2025. That's the only thing I can say. Obviously, I have a little bit of doubts, but those doubts will get put to bed if the Cardinals go to the playoffs and or win a playoff game. So let's see. Let's see. Defense wins championships, no doubt. We got to focus on that D line for sure. Randall, what's up, Randall? Hurts is shorter than Murray. Maybe we need a shorter quarterback. I don't know where you're getting that information. Hurts is not shorter than Murray. Jalen Hurts is over 6 foot. So I don't know where you're getting that information. Jalen Hurts is 6'1", for what it's worth. So I guess we'll just leave it at that. So no, he's not. Let's continue with the chat. We got Romero. What's up, Romero? He says, why would we get another wide receiver? Correct offense wins games. Defense wins championship. We need big stars on the defense. Well, yeah, no, I agree. I'm saying wide receiver in like the third round, right? I'm saying that wide because there's some potentially guys that could potentially fall to the Cardinals in the third round. So here's the way that I like to think of it. So this is a good question. My guy here in the chat says, why would we need a wide receiver? I feel like the Cardinals need someone that's going to be able to stretch the field, right? A guy that's going to be able to be nasty with his routes, right? And whether that's going to be a guy that falls in the third round, there's a really cool guy that I like out of Oregon, Tez Johnson. I feel like it'll be a potential good fit for the Cardinals, right? Guy that's going to be nasty and breaks away and creates separation. I feel like if the Cardinals can go after a big name, and I mean a big name in free agency, whether that's Josh Sweat or via trade, right? If the Cardinals can address that position in free agency, and let's say, for example, we use that 16th overall pick on the defensive line, whether that's edge or whether that's interior, right? Now, let's say we use that second round pick on, let's say, maybe more trenches, either offensively or defensively, right? I feel like we have enough pieces on this defensive line. I'm not saying we're going to be like the Eagles in 1 year. No, I'm not saying that, right? But you can at least get pieces to hopefully be a lot better than you were in 2024. So that leaves your third round pick for a potential, hey, right? Because there's only so much starters that we can have and playing, right? You have 11 people. So for the people out there that want to get defense in the first 3 rounds, okay, I mean, that's okay. But, I mean, I would rather allocate that third round pick for a weapon that's going to be able to stretch the field. I mean, that's just opinions, right? Opinions are going to be opinions. So great question. But the way my mind works is that if we can address somebody and get a really good piece in the defensive line in free agency, either via trade or free agency, and then use a 16th overall pick on the defensive line, second round pick, and maybe the defensive line again, or maybe trenches on the offensive side of the ball, it opens up more room for the Cardinals to potentially do something like that. That's just the way I like to look at it. Oh, you're just messing around. Okay. That's what I'm saying, man. Okay, you're just messing around. Okay, cool. Yeah, no. Jalen Hurts is definitely taller for sure. Said in the chat says our receiving is almost is almost trash though. We have Marvin Harrison Jr. and he's really young. I don't think they're trash. I personally don't think they're. I think our wide receiving core is solid. I'm not saying they're the best wide receiving core out there, but I think they're solid. But here's the thing: we don't know what's happening with Greg Dortch, right? Greg Dortch was supposed to be that slot guy for us, and although I like Greg Dortch myself, we don't know if he's coming back. Can we use an upgrade? I think we can. I think we can. I think if the Cardinals can allocate a draft pick for a wide receiver that they like, that's why I'm saying it could be up in the you could be up there, right? I'm not coming out here and saying that the Cardinals need to go after a Mecca Ibuka or Luther Burton in the 16th overall. Now, I'm still leaving the possibility open, right? Like I said before in multiple of my videos, I feel like right now in my mind, you got to go defensive line, and that's where my mind is saying 85%. Heck, maybe even 90%, right? Right now, with that 16th overall, you got to address the trenches, primarily the defensive side of the ball and or offensive side of the ball, right? So that's where my mind is going with the 16th overall pick. You got to address those trenches, right? But there's that 10%, right? Especially if the Cardinals go crazy on free agency, and I don't think they're going to, but if they do, right, and they dress a lot of pieces on the defensive side of the ball in free agency, then it opens up a little bit, right? Then maybe the Cardinals can go after an Emeka Buka with the 16th. Do I want the Cardinals to do it? But no, but it depends on what happens in free agency, though. It really does. Because I like Michael too. I like Michael. I like Mike Green. Of course, I love Abdul Carter. We're not going to get him unless the Cardinals do decide to trade up. There's just so many different things that the Cardinals can do, right? It's just, I don't know. It would almost kind of feel like to me if the Cardinals go defense in the first 3 rounds, it's cool, but like there's all their needs too. There's other needs that the Cardinals need, and I don't know. That's just the way my mind works. We got my guy Ruben in the chat says, "Do you believe the league is rigged?" Honestly, I hate that narrative. Here's the thing, right? I don't believe that the league is rigged. I don't believe the league is rigged. But there are some games, specifically when you're looking at teams, especially like the Chiefs, there are some ticky-tack calls, right? For favorable to them, right? Because if the league was rigged, I feel like they would have probably favored the Chiefs to win this game. But like if you really think about it, like if you put the Chiefs next to the Eagles, right? The Eagles are far better of a team, like far better of a team. Like, I don't think you could even rig this game because the Eagles were just so far superior, specifically that defensive line, and specifically that defense for the Eagles. They just outbeat the Chiefs. There's no way you can rig that game, right? Especially if the league was rigged. There was a dumb call in the beginning of the Super Bowl with that offensive PI. Man, I was just like, this is the reason why people don't want to watch football, right? With that dumb offensive PI. It felt like it was rigged, but I don't think it's rigged per se. No, I don't think it is. But the better team won. The Eagles won. I was a little worried. Like, if this game was close, then I would be a little worried that the refs were going to be like, oh, let's favor Mahomes, right? But I don't know, man. I don't think it's rigged, personally. No, I don't think it's rigged. Martin in the chat. What's up, Martin? He says, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will have a great second season. He'll go over 1,000 yards. Him and Murray will click. Also, Marvin Harrison Jr. jerseys available. They're still not, man. Like, you can go on, like, eBay, or you can go over, like, there's some, like, customizable jerseys that you can go after, but, like, on Fanatics, they're still not available. Like, that's one of the most unfortunate things that's happening in our fan base right now. That is freaking, they're still not available. I don't get it myself, but yeah, they're still not available. It's unfortunate. But I agree. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to go absolutely ham in year 2. I think he knows all the narratives. I think he's hearing out there that people are saying, oh, we should have gone after Malik. We should have gone after Brian Thomas Jr., which on paper they had a better season than Marvin Harrison Jr. But I have all the faith that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have the longer, better career and is probably going to be the next Larry Fitzgerald for the Cardinal fans. I'm at least hoping that that's going to be the case. I'm hoping that's going to be the case. I think he is going to go crazy, and I definitely think he's going to go over 1K next season as well. It would make just sense, man. He had over 800 yards, was it 8 touchdowns? Yeah, I think the next step is going to be 1K for sure. He's going to do that, and I have all the full faith that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to go crazy. He just needs to get somebody that complements him. You know what I mean? He needs to get a wide receiver that spreads the field, that is that threat. You know, he needs somebody that complements him. And I like Michael Wilson. I really do. It's just I think we need somebody that's going to be able to spread the field, right? And that's where my mind is going as potentially going after somebody in the draft. So that's where my mind is. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I do like Emeka Buka and I do like Luther Burton. It's not a big need in the first round right now. Let's see how free agency plays out. That's the way I would like to put it out. Let's keep reading these chats, man. You guys are coming in fire right now. Appreciate you guys for being here, by the way. Do me a huge favor, YouTube family. Smack the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Smack it up. Smack it up. It's nothing but, skyrockets here for our 2025 moving forward. I'm really, really excited. Smack the like button here at the YouTube family, and we will continue to read these chats here. Thank you guys so very much for being here on a Monday morning and talking things. Hopefully, Cardinals on the uptick moving forward. Let's move on over to Maul's Vengeance. What's up, Mauls? He says Kyler Murray hasn't won a playoff game, and Hurts has been to the Super Bowl twice. Don't compare the two. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's where I'm like, I'll let you guys decide, right? I don't want to go back into that whole narrative of I'll let you guys decide who's better. I'm not going to put any opinions out there. My mind is just, I want to think positive heading into 2025. Like, let me think positive, especially for the guys out there that are like, that feel this way. You guys already know how I feel, right? There's no point of beating a dead horse. I'm not going to do it anymore. It's all positivity heading into 2025. But if you guys want to have the debate, I'll let you guys decide that on your own. You already know how I feel. So I'll just leave it at that. Let's go with Miguel. What's up, Miguel? After seeing how Josh Sweat played last night, do you think he is still a top candidate for the Cardinals to pursue? I hope so. I hope so. Here's the thing. Like, I saw a tweet out on Twitter. Yeah, it was Twitter. Yeah. Sorry, X. It is Twitter. It's X/Twitter, right? I saw a tweet that was put out, and it was from Chad Forbes. And I believe he is... I think he just put a really good tweet out. I think he has a local radio host, right? Don't really know too much about him, but it came across my my For You page. And he ended up putting out a tweet, which I agree with, man. His tweet says, Cardinals will be all over Josh Sweat in free agency. Reunites with Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis. No better fit in free agency. Last offseason, general manager Monty Ossenfort went bargain hunting at defensive tackle with Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. Didn't work. Time to go big game hunting. So here's the thing, right? Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, were they an upgrade from what we had in 2023? Absolutely. Absolutely. They were an upgrade from 2023, right? But I do agree with this. I agree that the Cardinals need to go after the big fish, right? We got the money to spend this year. They got to go after those big guys. I hope Josh Sweat is a guy that they would really want, because think about it, man. And, he's potentially, he could be a game changer for the Cardinals. He really can. Now think about this. Close your eyes for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say the Cardinals do go after Josh Sweat, right? Let's say they go after Josh Sweat. And we use that 16th overall pick on a defensive lineman, right? Let's say we go after Michael Williams. Let's say they go after Mike Green, right? That means you got two guys that are at the edge position that automatically upgrade your current edge role right now, right? Now, can the Cardinals go the other route and go interior defensive line? Yeah, okay, perfect. Let's live in that world, right? So you got Josh Sweat. Hopefully B.J. Ojulari comes back fully healthy. You got Darius Robinson. And then you get that interior guy that you get, right? So anything that the Cardinals can do in this free agency, as long as you bring in a guy that upgrades your defensive line, specifically that edge rushing core, like a Josh Sweat, you can't go wrong. You can't. Because B.J. Ojulari needs to stay healthy in year 3. There's no doubt about it. Since we've drafted B.J. Ojulari, I've been really high on B.J. I like B.J. Ojulari. I really, really, really do. It's just he needs to stay healthy. But if he can stay healthy, that's automatically you got an upgrade at edge, right? You got Josh Sweat coming in here, fingers crossed. That upgrades your edge core, right? Let's say we address the defensive line with that 16th overall. Maybe it's going to be an interior guy. Maybe, right? That upgrades that. So, and then you got Darius Robinson coming back in year 2. Boom, upgraded. So now you got Bilal Nichols, and then you got Justin Jones as rotational guys, right? You got those depth guys that some might say we overpaid. Okay, whatever. But hey, they're solid. They're solid, defensive line guys that could be rotational dudes, right? So I agree with it. I hope that the Cardinals do go after Josh Sweat. I really do. But are there other options out there? I'm not going to lie to you. I do also like Azeez Ojulari as well. He'd probably be a little cheaper, but right now, my first target right now in free agency is Josh Sweat. It is. I feel like he's going to give us the most production, and he will be the best edge rusher we got on this freaking roster, hands down. It's not even close if we bring him in. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. A lot of things can happen, and the Cardinals' defensive line can look completely different heading into 2025. Completely different. So, yeah. I hope it is. We'll see though. I want Jameis Winston as a backup to I don't hate Jameis Winston. I like Jameis. I like his persona. I like who he is off the field. I think it's hilarious. I think he's a good locker room guy. Hey, wouldn't be mad at that. We got Digital in the chat saying Xavier Worthy was supposed to be the double dip last year at 27, but we got nothing from D-Rob. Can't drop the wide receiver until the 4th round. But here's the thing though, like you can't be scared, right? You can't be scared of a guy because somebody didn't, like, you can't be scared of drafting position because you're worried about a bust potential, right? That is what the draft is. The draft is a risk, right? The Cardinals went after defensive line with Darius Robinson. The year prior, they went after B.J. Ojulari, and you're right. There's been a lot of injuries within that core, right? But you can't be scared, right? You can't be scared of going after a specific position because injuries happen. You can't. If you did want Xavier Worthy at the 28th overall pick when we got Darius Robinson, then, I mean, kudos, because my mind wasn't even going with Xavier Worthy, honestly. My mind wasn't even going wide receiver. It was, you got your wide receiver, and then you go after defensive line in the second. So I applaud Monty Awesome for what he did. We still don't know what's up with Darius, though. Maybe his year 2 will be crazy. Maybe it will. We don't know, right? I just don't want to play the scared game, right? I don't want to play the scared game. But I see what you're saying, right? So you're saying Xavier Worthy was supposed to be the double dip last year. 20 was it 27 or 28? I keep saying 28, but it might have been 27. Yeah, 27. I'm sorry, I keep saying 28, but he was picked up at the 27th overall. You're right, 27. So I don't know. If somebody falls at 4th for the Cardinals in terms of wide receiver, I would be cool with that as well. But let me ask you guys this real quick. Just real quick. Did anybody watch the Super Bowl last night and saying, dang, we could have had Cooper DeJean? Be honest with me here in the chat. Did anybody watch the Super Bowl last night and said to themselves, or at least had some sort of thought process about Cooper DeJean and saying, man, we could have had Cooper? I like Max Melton. I ain't gonna lie to you. And he could definitely potentially blossom into becoming a really good cornerback for the Cardinals, right? Because I think he had a pretty solid season, right? But it's obvious that Sean Murphy-Bunting was the big-time signing, so he was going to play. Garrett Williams was going into his year 2. He actually played really, really well. So we don't exactly know what Max Melton is going to be. I like him. I still like the pick. But there was some sort of little voice in my head saying, man, I want a Cooper DeJean. And he was right freaking there for the Cardinals. Traded back to accumulate another 3rd-round pick. And I'm not sure if that was Elijah Jones or if that was Tip Ryman. But I'm not going to lie to you, man. Cooper DeJean was on my list for the Cardinals to potentially go after, and he was there. I just don't understand how Howie Roseman, the GM of the Eagles, he gets all these gems, man, and that's why their defense is so freaking good. Now, Cooper DeJean, is he benefiting the fact that his defensive line is nasty? Yeah, that can be very well the fact, but he also did have what was it, a pick six or yeah, I mean, he scored a touchdown, right? Wasn't it a touchdown that he scored? It was a return back, and I think it was one of those picks that came out from Patrick. So, I mean, it's one of those things, man. I really, really did like Cooper DeJean coming out of the draft. Howie Roseman is a freaking wizard. I don't know how he's doing it. He just every single year he seems to get those guys that most people want in these mock drafts. He somehow gets them, man. He somehow gets them. Don't know how he does it, but he does it. So there's that. Let me take a look here. Now I'm curious. What was it? I know it was. I know he had a touchdown. Let's see here. What was it? Okay, Cooper DeJean. Yeah, interception. So it was an interception in the second quarter, and he took it to the house, and that's what made it 17-0. But yeah, that game was over, man. That game was over. It was at one point 34-6 in the third quarter. Like there was no way that the Chiefs were going to come back from that game. So yeah, Cooper DeJean was one of those guys I really, really, really did like. Yeah, it was a pick six. Could have had Carter too. I liked Carter as well, and I also liked Will Anderson Jr., especially for all those people out there, man, that follow this channel for some time, right? The year before, I was all in on Will Anderson Jr. And when we traded back to trade back up to get Paris Johnson, of course, I'm like, okay, that's still a good pick. But yeah, I liked Will Anderson as well. I thought it was a possibility at that time. I agree. That's what I was thinking, though. I know I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. So, yeah, man, he's a wizard, dude. I don't know how he gets these picks and just completely falls in his lap, like Quinion Mitchell, Jalen Carter. Like these people just fall in his lap, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll take that for sure." So, I mean, it is what it is, right? I like Paris Johnson Jr. I think he's a bookend. Can the Cardinals go offensive line with 16th overall pick? Yeah, there's also a possibility of that as well. And I know I had my my mock draft, my way too early mock draft 1.0. I released, and I had Josh Simmons going to the Cardinals. A lot of people didn't like that pick, but I don't know. It makes sense, man. Jonah Williams just has not been good, like great for the Cardinals. I know he got hurt. He played in the tail end of the season. It wasn't a great free agent acquisition, right? The best free agent acquisition for the Cardinals, the best in 2024 in the offseason was Mack Wilson Sr. And it's not even close. Mack Wilson Sr. was the best free agent acquisition, and it wasn't even close. And I think I actually even made a video before we even saw Mack Wilson Sr. I think I could have sworn I said that Mack Wilson Sr., before anything happened, it was my favorite. He was the best. It was the most intrigue. It was the most, okay, Monty, I see you, right? Because Sean Murphy Bunting was, it was okay. I mean, we got CB1, but... And then the other guys, it was an upgrade, but it wasn't the upgrade that we needed to get the pressure, right? So, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Unknown sports fan here says we should draft. Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? I think we would have gotten Carter if it wasn't for the incident. I agree. The moment that incident happened, I said to myself, this isn't a Monty Austin-Fort pick, because I love Jalen Carter and I loved Will Anderson Jr. the exact same. I was like, man, I love both of these guys. I think these guys are studs, and the Cardinals need to go after one of these two guys. But the moment that incident happened, in my mind, it wasn't a Monty guy. It wasn't a guy that the Cardinals were going to do. It wasn't a Monty Austin-Fort pick. So I sold myself on the idea that it has to be Will Anderson Jr. It has to be. But the moment that the Cardinals traded back, I was like, it's done. We ain't going after Will Anderson. It's done, man. So, I still do like Max Melton, though. Like I said before, Max Melton, hopefully, it's going to be a stud coming into this next year out of Rutgers. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. Let's keep it with the chat. We got Chef Boy RB, what's up, brother? He says he sold his soul. I'm telling you. Are you talking about you're talking about Howie Roseman, I'm assuming, right? That Howie Roseman, dude, I don't know how he does it, man. He's a freaking wizard. I don't know how he does it. All these players that fall to him is ridiculous. Is ridiculous. I don't get it. Don't understand it. And it's funny because, like, you know, there's a lot of people out there that don't feel like card or like fans of the NFL know what we're doing, right? Like they're always like, "Oh, you're fans. There's a reason why you guys are like armchair GMs. You guys don't know anything, right?" There's a lot of people out there that love to use that narrative. I mean, uh, Howie Roseman most likely is watching these fans do these mock drafts because he's getting all the guys that people want, and they're succeeding in the NFL. So like the Super Bowl, what we learned is the Cardinals need to upgrade that defensive line, and it's not even funny. Like we got to upgrade that defensive line. We got to. We got to. Miguel in the chat says, how do you feel about the Patrick Peterson Super Bowl interview not having any hate towards the Cardinals? Mm, I don't know. I don't think I didn't see an interview with Patrick Peterson personally. But I I mean I never thought he hated us. I never thought he hated us personally. I don't know what interview he was talking about, but for years, I've always said that Patrick Peterson, I don't hate Patrick Peterson. I never did. I never talked bad about Patrick Peterson at all. I like Patrick. I think he's one of the best draft picks we've gotten in the 2010s. One of the best draft picks in the first round that we've gotten. I always knew that anything that has been said was nothing to do with the organization. That's kind of one thing that some of the fan base doesn't quite understand, right? That like when there's a breakup or something bad that looks to be internally that happens, it's not personal, right? It's not personal. Patrick Peterson and will forever be one of the best first round picks that the Cardinals have gotten. Some people don't want to admit it because they have some sort of vendetta against Patrick Peterson, but I never did. And I don't think he actually hated this organization. I just don't think he fit well with Steve Keim. So I don't know. That's kind of the way I feel about it. I like Patrick. I like Patrick Peterson a lot. One of my favorite first round picks. Here we go. My guy in the chat here. Same thing. Patrick Peterson will always be one of my favorite Cardinals. He was so nice in person and was the only Cardinal player to go up to me on the sidelines. Boom. Well, there you go. See, I 100% agree. I think he was a great Arizona Cardinal. The way that it ended, the way that he was not obviously a Cardinal, the moment that Steve Keim and him had a fallout, it's between them two. It's two men that didn't see eye to eye with each other, right? Did he feel a little hurt with the way that the relationship ended? Yeah, I would too, right? I would too. I never thought he had any will ill against this organization or like the Cardinal fan base. It's what it is, man. It's a business at the end of the day. He's still one of the best cornerbacks we've ever had on this roster and one of the best first round picks we've had. So for the people out there that had any unknown, I could have told you that 2 or 3 years ago. Patrick Peterson never hated us ever. It's been with Steve Keim. They had a falling out. He didn't like the way that things were handled. That's what happens. It's a business. Pat P is awesome and will always be a Cardinal. I agree. Luck in the chat says, I hate the Chiefs, but honestly, I kind of feel bad for Mahomes yesterday. Dude had absolutely no defense. He had no offense either. I mean, so here's the thing, right? Patrick Mahomes could not do anything yesterday either. Like he only was able to do stuff in the second half because the Eagles, they probably kind of allowed it or they were probably playing a little softer, right? Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are not a better team than the Eagles, and it showed. The far superior, better team was the Eagles. One thing that I was worried about, and I actually said it on the NFC West roundtable. If you don't know, every other Tuesday we go live because it's the offseason now. But I said it during then, like it's one of those things where football, right, in the NFL, if you have two teams that are close or at least similar, right, it could be a very close game. And referees can sway with specific calls. But it's no comparison, man. The Eagles are a much better team, right? So I don't know. I don't feel bad about Patrick Mahomes. He's already had all his success already. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I didn't want them to win so bad. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But Pat P didn't hate us, just didn't like K1 in the treatment he got. That's fair. 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 Here's the thing. I don't think he even has any issue with K1. I think he came out and gave his opinion and people didn't like it. I don't think he's got an issue with Kyler Murray, right? Did Kyler Murray take it, a step further and said, "Oh, you should have texted me if you have this"? Yeah, he did. Maybe K1 felt a little certain way about him coming on his podcast and telling him that, or saying that Kyler only cares about Kyler, right? It's an opinion. At the end of the day, it's an opinion. So, does he? I don't know. I don't know if he doesn't like it. I think he does, right? But yeah, I don't think he likes the way things were handled. 100% agree with you. Cards fan in the chat says, I really do like D-Rob. Can become that monster in the defensive line we need. That's what we need, man. We need D-Rob to take that step this year, man. We need D-Rob, brother. We need D-Rob to take that step this year. We need him. B.J. Ojolari, please stay healthy. D-Rob, take that next step. Cardinals, get somebody in free agency. Cardinals, maybe use your 16th overall pick on one of those young studs that is coming out of this year's draft. Guess what? Boom, that's it. Our defensive line has been upgraded. Like that. Like that. So, Monty, please. Monty Awesomefort, make this defensive line great again. Make it great again. It's been a while since we've been great, right? And I'm talking about the Calais Campbell days, right? Even Darnell Dockett days. It's been a while since this defensive line has been good. Or heck, great. It's been a while. But if we get the right pieces on this defensive line, boom, it's upgraded, man. Right? If BJ still stays healthy and gives us the production as a second-round pick that we need him to, if Darius Robinson takes that next step, if we get a Josh Sweat or get an X Factor on a trade on this offseason, and we use that 16th overall on a Michael, on a Mike Green, or if we go over a James Pierce, right? Or if somebody else does fall to the Cardinals, boom. Defensive line upgraded, man. Upgraded. Got my guy in the chat saying, what about Scattaboo? I like Scattaboo. Here's the thing about Scattaboo, right? I love the story that's coming from Scattaboo. I love the story. I really do. I just don't know if it makes sense for the Cardinals. Now, if they do it, am I on it? Do I rejoice with you guys? Of course, I like Scattaboo as a player. I just don't see a world where the Cardinals do it because our running back core right now seems to be, I'm not going to say established, but kind of, right? You got James Conner. He just signed a contract extension. Trey Benson, you picked him up in the third round. But I get it. Right after him, there's a lot of unknown after that, right? So I get it. There's a lot of unknown after Trey Benson. I don't know. I just don't see it happening personally. If it happens, cool. I'm cool with it. But some people might say that the Cardinals need to go trenches in the first and second round. So it's not that I don't like Scotty. I just don't see a world where the Cardinals can, I don't know. I would love to see trenches round 1 and round 2. That's the way I would like to work it, but we'll see. Joey in the chat says, Eagles saved America. You're welcome, Cardinals fan. That's funny. You did. You did save America. Absolutely. Congratulations, man. Joey, and your win over the Chiefs. Congratulations. Y'all absolutely demolished the Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs, and thank you so very much for doing so, man. Oh man, we needed it. America needed it. Bills couldn't do it. I don't think the Ravens were going to be able to do it either. For some reason, when Lamar and Josh Allen plays against Patrick Mahomes, they like shrivel, man. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But they shrivel. They don't do good against him. I don't understand why. But yeah, we needed one team to come out. Thank you so very much, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, to do it, man. I absolutely appreciate it. I wanted Jalen Carter and Cooper DeJean. Yeah, well, you ain't alone, my guy. You ain't alone. I also liked Will Anderson Jr. in that draft as well. Eddie in the chat says, I honestly don't think Trey Benson will be that great. That's fair. Okay. That's fair. So here's the thing. If you don't, then I can see where you might be coming from if you want Scattaboo, right? I could see where you're coming from if you want Scatterboo. I'm a little higher on Trey Benson personally, but if you're not, then I can see in a world where you might want to get a Cam Scatterboo. Me personally, I have faith in him. I think the Cardinals can very well do really, really well with Trey Benson. It's just James Conner is obviously the number one guy, right? So like, we can't really see a dosage of what Benson can really be. Like, opportunity wasn't there, and unfortunately, he got hurt as well. Like, we got a lot of people hurt this year. Like, a lot of people got hurt this year, unfortunately. Maybe we trade the 16th overall pick for Nah. I like Cooper DeJean, if that's what you're talking about, but there's no way, man. There's no way. The Cardinals can use that 16th overall pick on a stud defensive lineman. A stud defensive lineman. Whoever falls to us, man. Either interior or on the edge, we can very well use that on a defensive lineman. There's just no, that Cardinals ain't doing that. Eagles make me think of that legendary David Johnson run where everyone on the Eagles touched him and failed. Yeah, that was a crazy run, man. I still remember that run. That was one of the most amazing things I've seen. David Johnson in year 1 and year 2 was the most special thing we've seen in a very long time, man. Like that David Johnson, year 1 and year 2 of a Cardinal was so special that people don't even give it its glory, because just the way that it ended, man. Like, we traded David Johnson because obviously he was not the same after he got hurt, and after he got paid, he wasn't the same. But we got D-Hop from the David Johnson trade. But those year 1 and year 2 with David Johnson was special, man. It was special. Yeah. I want Abdul Carter, but I guess Ole and Madden. Yes, Ole and Madden, my guy. Ole and Madden. And unless the Cardinals somehow trade up to top 5, there's just no way, man. There's no way. James could fall to a stud edge. Yeah, I mean, James Pierce Jr. is also up there as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's, galore, right? Galore. I mean, if the Cardinals like him, I want to see what he does in the Combine. I know the Combine is only it's the underwear Olympics, let's be honest. But I want to see what he does. I'm really high on Mike Hill. Mike Hill and Mike Green. I love those two guys. But if the Cardinals go any which way, I think we can obviously benefit from it. Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr. is definitely very well much of a stud as well. Let's see what happens, man. Let's see. We got first round, second round, third round, fourth round. I'm excited about this year's draft. We're only going to get better from here. Was Ayuk also from ASU? Yes. Ayuk was also from ASU. There was a wide receiver, and let's see if you guys know, that was also in ASU as well, that I wanted the Cardinals to get because it was that ASU connection. And that's one thing that I kind of fear about Scatterboo. I like Scatterboo, don't get me wrong. I love the story of ASU, but I kind of fear the ASU players because kind of got burnt. But there was one wide receiver that I really wanted the Cardinals to get. We weren't able to get him. It was N'Keal Harry. Remember N'Keal Harry? He was supposed to be a beast. But I'm glad we didn't get him. Obviously, I'm glad we didn't get him. But that was because I was in my feelings. I was like, oh, ASU, man, this would be really cool to pair him alongside Kyler. But no, it didn't work out. And thankfully, it didn't work out. But I really did like N'Keal. But that's one guy that I can admit that I'm glad that the Cardinals didn't get, man. Yeah, he was such a bust for sure, man. Yup, N'Keal Harry. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't. And I could admit I was wrong on that one. I'm so glad the Cardinals didn't go that route. See, I'm not right. I'm wrong a lot of times too, man. I'm wrong a lot of times too. I just have opinions, right? But that's kind of where I was like, man, I let my love for ASU get the best of me because I really wanted N'Keal. But I'm so glad, man. So glad the Cardinals didn't go after him. And he was actually literally picked up the pick before, I believe, right? He was picked the pick before the Cardinals were able to get on the clock. So thank you, Patriots, for taking them because, that's interesting. When is the draft? The exact date is, I know it's like the 27th of April. Let me confirm here, though. So, actually, it's April 24th. April 24th through the 26th. So we are definitely going to be going live during those dates as well. Super excited about it. The Cardinals aren't top 10, so we definitely have a lot more things to talk about since we're going to be waiting for, obviously, the 16th overall pick. But yeah, April the 24th, which is a Thursday, and it's going to take us all the way to April the 26th, which is a Saturday, which is going to be the last round. So super excited about what the Cardinals could potentially accomplish in this year's draft. Last question, and we're going to be closing up shop. Appreciate you guys for being here. We got my guy in the chat, Miguel. What's up, man? He says, would you be down for a Christian Kirk to come back to AZ? I don't hate Christian Kirk. I don't know. No, I don't know. To me personally, like I said, it's one of those things that if he comes back, I'm cool with it. But like, I'm not gonna pound the table to bring Christian Kirk back. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think the Cardinals need to bring Christian Kirk in here. I don't think they need to bring him back. If he comes back, cool. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to pound the table for it. Doesn't move the needle for me. I think he's a good wide receiver and would be a really good compliment to Marvin. It's just, I think we can find somebody cheaper. I think we can find somebody cheaper than Christian Kirk. And he's just had an injury that I'm a little worried about too. So I'm not pounding the table for him, but if he comes back, hey man, I will accept them with open arms, but it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. Let's close up shop. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. You guys have flooded the chat like nobody's business today. Thank you guys so very much for being here. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button. I know it's been a very, very long time since we went live on this channel because, hey, man, it was the playoffs. The Cardinals weren't in it, and we don't really have much to talk about, right? But we will be releasing another mock draft after the Super Bowl. It's still going to be way too early because, way too early mock draft coming up after the Super Bowl. I want to see where the Arizona Cardinals kind of where they land, who they potentially could go after. But thank you guys for being here. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button on your way out. We're going to be closing up shop right here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Another huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. That's going to be none other than BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know here in the chat below, who is one player you absolutely want the Arizona Cardinals to go after in this year's free agency class? Let me know here in the comments. If you're watching this on a playback, go ahead and put it on the comments. Thank you, everybody, as well for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.